6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Through Black and White Eyes for this very disappointing. Fuck off, Ian. Fuck off. I can see you in the background giggling. Jeez, he knows how angry I am. And he knows how, well, he kind of guessed it right, didn't he? Horrible man. I don't want to bring him in now. No, only joking. Obviously, we've got to review the game. We're going to look ahead to Sunday as well. It's a big weekend for us. It's all in our hands, but very, very disappointing. Very disappointing. Right. Ches says, keep comments respectful. No wall caps, duplicate, super chats available. Bottom right-hand corner. Link to be a member is at the top of the chat. There it is. We really need members to keep the channel going and for us to be able to give you money back, basically, in prizes. Ches was slacking a little bit. Gary's in the house. Blade's in the house as well. And we have royalty in the house as well. Every time I say that, he's like, no, like royalty is in the house. Even though, hope you're well, we are. Caitlin or Nick, I'm guessing Nick, because Caitlin's always at work. CNN, Caitlin, Nick. I had no sound, realised mute button was on. Dope. Brilliant. And the royalty's just disappeared. Right, here's the co-host.
Hi, mate.
Get that smug face off you. Well, man, we have to talk about it.
Yeah, I was pissed off at the end of the game as much as everybody else was, but I knew I knew what would happen.
Stop it. Royalty. Oh, he's waiting for the fireworks. Oh, he's not getting them.
I think it has to.
He's smug today. He really is. How are you, Dan?
Good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, really good. Tired, but good.
Bummed about Wednesday because
still bummed.
That was shit.
It was, wasn't it? That's right. We're going to try and get through it without swearing too much and without being too angry.
Yep.
This was our team. I was quite happy with the team. Tino's a disappointment because he's been playing so well. But if you're not fit and you're injured, what a perfect backup to have in trips. Well, so we thought. Then we see the Man United team, and then the only one that really hurt me that he was playing was Bruno Fernandes. I said if he wasn't playing, we would win that game. But he played. Fuck me, did he play? Let's start off with talking about Bruno Fernandes because everyone hates him. Everyone knows he's a diving little rat at times, Ian. But he was absolutely superb on Wednesday night. He ran that show for Man United. And without him, they wouldn't have got anything from that game.
When I watched the second half of the Arsenal game on Sunday, I just felt we had a slight feeling that we had enough to beat them. However, I thought Ten Hag got his tactics absolutely bang on, right? And then to take Højlund off and put Bruno into that position where he kind of floated about. He was that false nine where he drifted about all over. I thought Amrabat probably had one of his better games for Manchester United in a long time. And again, on when I watched him the other day, I thought he was pretty woeful. And what Ten Hag did, he stopped the counter attack, and he stopped our strengths, and he stopped us in a way where when it broke down, he knew that Bruno would be able to pick them balls up in areas where every pass it seemed to hurt him. He was just on the heart of everything. He set plays. Do you know what it is? You're right. He did make Man United tick, but it wasn't just Bruno. When I felt every single tackle, there was 3 or 4 players around every other player patting them on the back. They were right up for this game. And like I said before, I don't know what it is, but I don't know what. I think they raised the game against Newcastle United more than they do against Manchester City, and it's the rivalry that keeps going on when they keep singing about Alan Shearer of all these decades gone past. Come on, man. This is what it means to Manchester United to beat Newcastle United. And it goes to show, like I said, the cup final, Baz, Manchester United weren't great. They just knew how to beat Newcastle United. And it was the same. It was the same on Wednesday. They don't have to play well to beat us. And I think
we say that though, but we beat them twice this year, and
at Old Trafford.
We beat them at Old Trafford and we beat them at St James's Park.
Right.
You know, we beat them with our third team. Very frustrating.
Carabao Cup means absolutely nothing when it comes down to Manchester United in the league, mind.
I don't know. The way they are now.
No. You're trying to be like you were the other night, right? That's what you're trying to be at. That's exactly what you're doing. You're trying to paper over cracks what the realistic things, what really happened. Manchester United always find a way to beat us. And it doesn't matter what we do, they'll always scrape over the line. And they don't have to play well to beat us. Now, we had chances in that game, which we'll go over, to beat them 5, right? The chances that they were half chances, bad defending, people falling asleep. The Mackham, who had 2 volleys before, put them in rows and landed by Gordon. The third one bust the net. Hoyland came on, bad defended in the back of the goal. They just find a way. And it is frustrating, Baz, but that's what they do. It's awful. It's awful, and it's hard to be a part of, but that's just what they do.
I'll tell you one thing that I was very impressed with Ten Hag's tactics was, you mentioned Bruno starting in the false 9. I noticed after about 15 minutes, because we were on top in the first 20 minutes, Dan. We really were in the first 20 minutes. And then I noticed Bruno switch position and he dropped down into that 6-8 role. McTominay played more the false 9. And that is when the game changed for me, because in that first 20 minutes, we should have been 2-0 up potentially with the ball that we had, the way we were playing, the way we were on top of them. But as soon as he made that tactical switch, Bruno Fernandes started running the show down, and that was pretty much how the first half went.
Bang on. Even the starting 11s that they showed us on the broadcast showed McTominay in that false 9 position, but that's not what we saw at the beginning. Once they switched it and Bruno fell back into the hole where he can dictate pace and dictate the play, he was much more dangerous, and I just can't stand the rat bastard. So
yeah, I know. I reckon but he just showed that he's their only world-class player they've got, and it really showed.
Well, at the same time, Casemiro had a defensive masterclass. I thought he was really good. Arambat was good as well, other than that incident that didn't get looked over by VAR. So it irks me, because we have shown in this season that we can beat Man United, and I don't know what went wrong with our game plan. I don't know what Ian's.
It's that.
Potentially. I mean, let's talk about their first goal, because, I mean, they started to get on top of us and it was coming. You could see the goal was coming. But what was really frustrating for me is that everyone's saying it was an amazing pass. It wasn't. You tried to play a 1-2. He misplaced the pass and it somehow fell to Manu, who I thought was offside until we saw the replay. And then look how far Trips was, how far deep he was. Why was he that deep in? Because he didn't need to be.
I'll tell you why he was that, because he hasn't played football for a long time.
There is that.
Simple as that. And that's brain rust. And It's nothing to do with his ability, anything like that. It's brain rust. And do you know what? His Trippier started the game quite well.
He did. Do you think he was blowing after 20 minutes? Because a lot of people mentioned that, saying that he seemed to be struggling a little bit.
I wouldn't think he was blown. It's just when you're playing at the elite level, your brain takes control of a lot of things rather than your fitness. When you haven't played for a while, you'll just switch off. And he did. He switched off. And then you can only hit yards too deep. And it was a misplaced pass. It was. It took a deflection as well, by the way.
It took a massive deflection. He was trying to play a 1-2.
Yeah.
And I said, he's played a 1-2. It's a poor pass. And suddenly it landed at Manu's feet. And I was like, how the hell's the ball got there?
Do you not think Dubravka could have done better for the goal as well? I just thought he kind of...
No, I think it's in the corner, to be honest with you. He's only 12 yards out. It's one of those ones.
Yeah.
I think he should have done better for another one, which we'll talk about later on. But I don't think he's stopping that. I mean, he scuffed it as well.
There's more I want to say about trips, but I think we have to wait until the end of the show about that one. No, I'm not being critical because
there's a few things that he said recently in the press as well.
And it's happened twice now this season. When he's been injured and he's been out, when he comes back in, his brain is not up to par.
Yeah.
And he's playing subpar. And when he plays subpar, he's a liability. And I hate to say it.
You've got to remember as well, though, that Trippier's place was forced because of Tino Liveramento's absence. And that's the difference when you're playing a player that's fully committed and he's fully fitness and at that level and playing, and then you bring in a player that's never played for 7, 8 weeks.
Yeah,
that's a long time out, and then you put him in.
Well, it is. This is why Joe Linton shouldn't be starting, because he's nowhere near 90 minutes fit. And people are saying I would have played Joe Linton from the start. It's like, well, come on, you've got to. People see players back on the bench and say I would have started him, but then they don't think about everything else that goes with it.
To Ian's point, we were forced to play trips because of Tino's injury. We couldn't move Cher into central defense and move Kraft out wide until later because he's also coming back from injury. It goes back to, again, the injuries have completely bollocksed us all season long.
And it goes as well as the goalkeeper. Everybody wanted Nick Pope in goal on Wednesday.
But we don't know how physical match fit he is.
Nick Pope has never played if you look at it, there was a stat put out where he got injured, his last shoulder injury. I think he was fit to train, but I'm sure it was another 3 months before he made his first competitive appearance again. Now, everybody wants, because everybody's remembering of Nick Pope, your Fab Shaws, your Kieran Trippiers, your Joe Lintons of last season when we're in the
even this season when they were playing well. To be fair,
right at the beginning of this season. But when you've been out for a long time, Eddie Howe turned around and said, I've got to protect these players now for the future, not because these last couple of games. And I'm going to play the players because of merit. Now, because of merit, Tino Livermento should have started. Because of injury, Kieran Trippier was brought in. So these players wouldn't even have started. So we've just got to... It's frustrating for me because a lot of players is getting really, really attacked again on social media simply because other players are available that's sitting on the bench. Now that bench is strong, but it's still not at 110% what we want them at.
Close.
And
would we have started a Murphy at right back and pushed Almiron up front? No, because Almiron's not 100%. Right, exactly. Yep.
And I had a conversation with a bloke after the game on Wednesday. We should have played Jacob Murphy at right back and played Almiron, exactly what you said. And I'm just thinking, look at the bigger picture, what you're actually seeing and what you're doing for Newcastle United. You've got Kieran Trippier on the bench, right? A full England international when last season and this season, he was one of the first names on that team sheet. But because he's been injured and you're being desperate, you're going to Jacob Murphy at right back, but you've slagged him off all season when he's played in front or when he's come back on the right-hand side of midfield. But all of a sudden, he's okay to play in right back, where he's more vulnerable and where you've got more chance to concede goals.
Mistake.
That's okay. Yeah. But that's okay because Jacob Murphy's done okay for the last couple of games. That doesn't wash for me. You've just got to look at the real picture here and go, what we'll do is we'll go to Manchester United and you play your best possible. I believe Kieran Trippier was going to be on for 60 minutes regardless of any, because Eddie Howe's done that before. He's done that before. If we were winning 5-0 or getting beat 1-0, Kieran Trippier would have still came off. That's what was put in his game plan. You will play at 60 minutes and then we'll sort things out. People's just got to realise that this has been an absolute patchwork quilt of a season, and it's still going to be a patchwork quilt until we get over the line and get through the summer and look forward to next season. And it frustrates me because players get targeted, mate, and insulted time and time again.
I hate it.
These players have stood up to the cause, mind, when we've been dealt to the bare bones, and they don't deserve it.
I agree. Lee, good luck tomorrow. Sorry you're going for an operation on your birthday, but happy birthday as well. Hope it all goes well. Hey there, JK Buddy still used the new handle. Oh yeah, keep forgetting he's got new handle. HS probably right. Gordon equalizes, but before that, was that later on or was it? I can't remember. My stream was terrible. I didn't even see the goal. That's what really wound me up. I had to find out from the chat that we'd scored. Jacob Murphy gets another assist. I don't think he had a great game, to be completely honest with you. But Gordon is in the right place at the right time again to make it 11 goals and 10 assists this season, which is a phenomenal return. I mean, it's a great goal, isn't it, Ian?
Perfect
goal.
Perfect goal. And
the perfect time to get back into it as well.
You know, after a bit of a stop-starty performance, he was the live wire, mind, Gordon. And he's getting better and better and better. And do you know what the thing is? What you can see in Gordon is you can see the belief inside him that he's going to get even better and better.
Yes.
Because that's
which is scary.
and it is, and massive credit goes to Eddie Howe and his background and his teammates as well. Because last season when we seen Anthony Gordon, yes, he owned up and says he wasn't fit, right? But then you've seen glimpses of how good he is. This season, he's just went from that to that into a level where he is now. He's got to be starting for England, and Saka's got to be on the other side, and he's got to be on the left-hand side. There's nobody in the Premier League that's more direct, more threatening. His assist, his goal scoring, his work rate be off the ball as well is so important, and he just ticks all the boxes. He's fantastic.
Absolutely. The frustrating thing is, Dan, though, he went through on goal. I mean, when I was watching it live, I thought that's not a penalty because Casemiro comes across and takes the ball perfectly. It's not till you slow it down and you see what Amrabat's done by putting his foot down his Achilles, which has obviously made Gordon go down because of the pain. And that is painful. And any sort of challenge in that area is very, very painful.
And you could see he scraped the back of his heel. There's missing skin back there as well as a sock.
It's absolutely mental. Gordon goes to his teammates while we're waiting for VAR. He says it's 100% a penalty. How has VAR missed this?
Because we were at Old Trafford.
Perfect answer.
No, that's the only answer. I mean,
it is the only answer.
You know, I don't know if they're trying to save Ten Hag. I don't know if they're just trying to see them get above us in the table. But there's no explanation available to why they wouldn't have even looked at it. I mean, has Gordon won? That would have been the 7th PK he's won.
7th, yeah, it would have been the 7th, yeah.
You know, if they had awarded it, you know, is it because they think he was diving? I don't know what it was. And Casemiro,
if you think he's diving, he should be yellow carded, shouldn't he?
Absolutely. And Casemiro's tackle, he got the ball. It was absolutely clean. It was wonderfully.
But would it have been clean had Anthony Gordon been able to carry on in his stride and get to the ball? We don't know. Casemiro could have easily took him out because Gordon gets to the ball first. So
exactly. if
It's very
VAR
frustrating.
had shown, well, first of all, there was no. I mean, there was a VAR check, but they didn't ask the ref to come to the monitor.
To the screen,
If
yeah.
if they had done so and shown this angle at full speed, it looks innocuous. But if you slow it down and show this angle, there's no doubt in your mind. You know,
Yeah.
what did they think? It was Gordon's 2 yellow feet. I mean, it doesn't make sense. It was. I mean, from another angle, but hear me out, Baz. From another angle, it looks like, you know, Gordon may be tripping over his own feet for, you know,
Yeah.
to dry the penalty. But if you see this angle, there's absolutely no doubt. And the fact of the matter is, VAR didn't show that angle to the referee, didn't call him to the monitor, and didn't say, "Hey, we think you need to have a look at this." Why? Because it was Newcastle United at Old Trafford. That's why.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree.
My point of it is, obviously Anthony Gordon's. I think is he got the most penalties this year?
For
Won
us,
the most?
certainly, I'm not too sure in the Premier League in general. Though.
And obviously, he's been in situations. Obviously, last game when he hung his leg and looked for the penalty.
Yeah. We've seen him do it. Don't get me wrong. He did it in the Brighton game, didn't he?
And for me, when it first happened, I said penalty straight away. But then when it came across, I went, great tackle, right? But then I said, oh, what a tackle from Casemiro. But then, if I can see after when there's another replay that it's a clear and obvious penalty, when it goes to Jared Gillett, when you've got like some of us in this room here. And you can see a clear person going down the back of someone, that's a penalty. And I'll always go back to the Dubravka Jota one.
Yeah.
At Liverpool, where he
slightest of touches.
He brushed him, right? And then took 3 or 4 paces after, then threw himself to the ground. That was a penalty. This penalty was so clear and obvious, it was beyond a joke. And now Jared Gillett's been on the end of quite a few dubious decisions. And when I seen Jared Gillett before he came over to England, he was mic'd up in an Australian game, and I thought he was going to be absolutely tip top. Because
me too.
Right the way throughout the whole of the 90 minutes, he was mic'd up, and I watched about a 35-minute video of him when he was in the game and he was explaining everything. It was his last game in Australia. And I thought, you know what it is? I've never seen this before. And this man's going to take refereeing probably to the next level. And it just goes to show that if he misses clear and obvious decisions like that, when it's so important, come on, man. It's ridiculous. And fair play to Anthony Gordon, mate, for standing up and saying,
yes,
get rid of it or you just do better, because it's that bad.
No, but to your point, okay, so correct me, Ian, was Gillett the one on the pitch, or is he the one that's VAR?
He was VAR.
Okay, now you've said it. Okay, no, you're with it. Yeah, you're absolutely right. If he didn't see it as clear and obvious and pointed to the screen and said, you got to go over and have a look at it, then, you know, I stand with it. Stand with Gordon and say, do it right or don't use it. Sorry.
Yeah, like we said, Dan, if Jared Gillett sat there, there's got to be other people as well as with him. And surely 2 other people in that room or 1 or 2 can clearly see that was a clear. It's not. If it's not that clear, that referee should have been sent to the screen for that one. It wasn't. Yeah. It was that quick and that was it done. For me, that was just a really, really ridiculous decision. Yeah, and it's fit. Go to Sky Sports and the next day and get the ref watching, and then that Pillock that stands there without a pin and go, oh, it's a bad decision. That we'll just
even Rooney said it was a penalty.
Rooney said it was a penalty, and Roy Keane said it was a penalty. Come on, and
what did Gary Neville say? Because they had 3 of them up there in the booth.
Oh, you know, once they were on, right, I turned it off. When it was on Sky Sports, I turned it off, and I went up to Sports Me. I wasn't watching the Man United Wednesday night show. Nah, not for me.
There was far too many of them in there. But yeah, fair play to Anthony Gordon for what he said.
I watched Les Ferdinand and Owen Hargreaves.
Owen Hargreaves is good.
Owen Hargreaves is one of the best out there. He's he knows the game inside out, and he's always for the other side. He says the best teams for other team. Owen Hargreaves is brilliant. I was glad I turned it over.
Yeah,
Oh, he's Canadian.
Love it.
I had to throw that in there.
Fair play to Anthony Gordon though, because he did come out and say his comments after the game, and he was absolutely spot on. And he wasn't disrespectful, in my opinion, at all. He said, "Look, I understand why the referee didn't give it. It was very fast, but I don't understand why VAR hasn't seen it." Especially when he showed the referee his ankle, he said, "Are they actually looking at that? You know, is the referee then going in his ear and saying back to the VAR room, like, can you have a look at his ankle and see where that's come from?" These are the sort of conversations we don't know are happening, and we need to hear them. So personally, I think from going forward next season, our football club and every football club in the Premier League pays a hell of a lot of money to have VAR in the system in the ground, and paying the officials. If the officials are making these bad mistakes and they're confirmed as bad mistakes, they should be fined by the football club, and the football club should get a refund for them not doing their job properly. It's 100%. About time that they start to be held accountable for these decisions, because these decisions are not only costing managers' jobs, they're costing clubs points, they could be costing relegation, they could be putting clubs in trouble financially, potentially, you know, because of all that. So it's about time they're held for their actions, and they've got to do better. But I don't know how they're going to do better. That's the only problem.
I haven't looked. Dermot Gallagher usually comes out on the weekend. Well, I guess we won't see it until next week, I guess. But Dermot Gallagher is usually interviewed by Sky Sports and shown several controversial,
decisions.
Points of the games and gets his take on it. I haven't seen that. I'll have to go look.
Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, everyone says it was a penalty. Everyone knows it's a penalty. It's just crazy. Right, their second goal, so frustrating. The first one was frustrating, but the second one is even more frustrating for me because it's from a corner. Dalio, every single time Man United had a corner, no one marked them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
they just left them every single time. The warning signs were there, and we didn't respond to it. But the most frustrating thing for me is Murphy at the front post. His headed clearance was shocking.
It was a joke.
Now, for me, Alan Shearer used to do that job brilliantly. If you're getting your head to that ball, and he had plenty of time, it was a very poor cross. How he's flicked that to the back post is beyond me. And that for me is what's cost us that goal. Not just the poor marking. That should never have happened. That header should have been out for a throw-in or towards the halfway line. It was terrible.
Yeah. That Shearer rule is so important on corners. And if it doesn't beat the first man, it doesn't beat you.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like an attacker being in that area and flicking it on.
Yeah.
And it was just it was terrible. The header itself was terrible. It was
but then to leave him free on the back post again, though, like the warning signs have been there for other corners as well.
His first two volleys, he put them in row Z, and like the third one,
nailed this one.
It was a great strike, but the header itself was absolutely diabolical. Yeah. It shouldn't happen. A really, really poor goal to score. To concede, sorry.
Yeah. Then the most frustrating thing happened at Old Trafford, Dan. Newcastle somehow have lost all composure when going forward.
Yep.
This situation really, really hurt me. Now, there's two things that potentially went wrong in this build-up. Now, we're 3-on-1 at the halfway line. Gordon's got the ball on the right-hand side. I think potentially he plays the ball too early.
Yeah.
Yep.
Then the second part is, though, look at Amrabat's position there. Look, he's already diving in to stop that shot.
Yep.
Prime Isaac, which he's done in the past, he cuts back in on his right foot.
Yep.
And he takes the defender on his arse, and then he either slots it to Gordon or Anderson running in, or he puts the ball in the back of the net himself.
100%.
For some reason, on Wednesday night, we had brain farts when we were in the final third and forgotten it. I know he hits the bar, but you cannot go to Old Trafford and have a 3-on-1 and not score.
And not score, correct. Yep. No, and the question is it because, is it Howe playing mind games, or is he unwell? Is he not playing well because he's in a brain fog? You're absolutely right. You're looking at that picture right there and saying 3-on-1 at Old Trafford. You've got so many options in that moment. And Isak decides to go on his own, and Amrabat gets the deflection and blocks it. It was.
And for it to hit the bar as well is even more frustrating because we was watching it. I mean, all it needs, I don't know if you've ever seen the goal, but the Real Madrid Guti, when he runs through and backheels it back into the middle of the goal, and then he backheels that, Anderson scores.
Yep.
You know, Amrabat's on his backside. He's not getting back up. He's got a one-on-one with the goalkeeper. There's so many options, and we chose to use his weaker foot while the defender was diving in, and the goalkeeper's got a decent position. I just don't get why he's done it. We've seen him be so cool and calm all the way through the season. Take back to the first game of the season against Villa, the way he flicked that ball over the keeper, and I thought it was going over the bar. It was a genius finish. But where's that Isak gone in the last couple of games? Is it because he is unwell? Or is it just because we're at Old Trafford, he so desperately wants to score and gets us back in the game, and all logic goes out with the window?
Paracetamol overdose.
They do say codeine does some strange things to you when you're all dosed up. So frustrating. That could have been the game right there. That gets us back into it again.
If we had gotten back in the game at that moment, we would have won the game. I think so. I agree.
But that 3-on-1, Baz, what you've stopped that there, that didn't start there. That 3-on-1 started.
Yeah, like I said, it started way back. Like I said, there was so much time.
That started just on the curve of the centre circle coming into our own half. Their half, sorry. Now there were so many options. Yes, Gordon played the ball early. If you have a look at it when it first started, Amrabat is I don't know how he actually gets back, to be fair. And you've got to give credit to Amrabat because we were actually 2 yards in front of him with the ball. Yeah. And he actually gets back. Now,
which is why I think Gordon should have kept on running, because he can outpace Amrabat.
or he plays it back to Anderson. You know, it had lots of options at that moment.
Yeah. So frustrating. What's even more frustrating, I said on Tuesday night, Hoyland shite, you'll never score past us. And what happens? I need to keep my mouth shut when it comes to players like that. Havertz is shit. Havertz scores.
What was it? Which game?
The Chelsea game, wasn't it? Mudryk.
No, it was the other game as well.
It's happened too many times to question it, Ian. I just need to keep my mouth shut.
We were at home and he absolutely gave us a right out torrid time. I can't remember. It was a winger up against Dan Burn. He goes, "I'd be all right, Tim," and he absolutely run the show.
That was
the coloured kid.
Burnley. No, not Burnley.
No. You know what I'm on about, don't you?
I do, yeah.
He ran the show.
Yeah.
Was it the kid for Brighton?
No, it wasn't Brighton. It was further back in the season.
I can't remember. Do you know what it is? I can picture him coming inside and doing everything now. It'll come to us by the end of the show, definitely.
Yeah. Michael, I'm not blaming Isak for it, but what I'm saying to you is, if you look at the freeze frame of the picture, Amrabat has already committed himself before Isak is even letting go of his shot. Isak had so many other options. I just think it was poor. It was a top block, but Isak's better than that. Look at what he did against Spurs. Putting, him on his backside, and he's done it plenty of times before. It's just frustrating. But Hoyland comes on, and again, it's poor defending, isn't it? I mean, we make some changes ourselves, so maybe that's the reason why.
It was right after Cher came on, wasn't it? It was right after we moved
Cher showed him down the side, but he didn't get any extra help for cover. So Hoyland just thought, I'm just going to smash this in the far corner. It's a tidy finish. Should De Brafter have done better, Ian, or not?
100%.
Yeah. Pope saves it.
It was weak. Well,
Pope's arm is a foot longer. Yeah, he saves it. You know,
at this present time, with Pope being in, we don't know. The keeper should have done better. That's all I'm saying. I'm not one of these ones, because Pope's never kicked the ball for a long time.
Yeah.
Pope in prime definitely saves that. Pope in prime saves a lot of goals what Dubravka's led in mind. Pope in prime allows us to get up the pitch more. Pope and Prime lets us. He's the sweeper. He commands the box better. Where do you draw the line? We know Dubravka's limits, and we know his limitations. What he does, and we know that sometimes he makes fantastic saves, and he lets us down to time, and that's. You know what it is? He's stood up. He's done his best for us. He hadn't played a lot of football for a long time, and he's come in where he's had no other keepers breathing down his neck to put any pressure on him either. By the way,
no, I agree with that.
That's important. That's important, and it's the same way. You like to see your Longstaffs, you like to see your Brunos. You'll go right the way throughout the team, mind. Your Gordon, even Gordon's mind. That when you know you're just going to play, you'll go through the motions of
emotions, yeah.
But if you've got this, if you watch the Manchester City new documentary, right? They have got the same players week in, week out on that training field and on that squad. And they'll know if they're not playing well, they've got these players breathing on the neck. So the training becomes the next level. And then, then on the pitch becomes the next level. And that's why last season, when we were pushed for Champions League, we had the same core of players pushing any injuries. And it's so important.
No, I agree with that. Before we go on to the next bit, just please hit the subscribe button if you're enjoying the chat. Hit the thumbs up. Don't forget to become a member. Link is at the top of the chat. It really helps us to run the channel. Don't forget about our amazing sponsors, Diacro, Baz 20% off. Link is in the description. T-shirts are amazing. The quality is fantastic. We also have another sponsor, Football Prizes, doing an amazing double shirt framed, Trippier and Shaw. And they've also got a big Joe Linton one. Link is in the description. Please buy some tickets and good luck if you do. I'll tell you another chance that we haven't talked about that I should have. Bruno's header from the corner. 50 pence heed. Flew wide. What the hell was that? That was another gilt-edged chance. And again, those are the chances if we were playing against a lesser team at St James's Park, they hit the back of the net. It just, that composure just went missing.
The best move of the game and the best football we played was Longstaff's chance.
Yeah, there's that one as well, one-on-one with the keeper. And again, it's...
We played on the front foot. It was so fast. 1-2, and we just turned them inside out. And he just had all the goal to hit, and he hit the goalkeeper's foot.
Yeah, frustrating.
Then, you know...
Could have been 3-3 for him, couldn't it?
Right, then you know what's happening at Old Trafford.
Yeah. See, the thing is, I knew well before kickoff because I only saw one magpie in my garden. It was written in the stars.
I knew a week before, Baz.
I love it. Right, Lewis Hall scores the best goal of the game from a corner, comes out to him, 25 yards out, places it brilliantly into the far corner of his left foot. On the 91st minute, we had 5 more minutes to try and get an equaliser, which we couldn't do. But Lewis Hall, Dan, is really coming on now, isn't he?
100%. Yep, and we've been questioning all season long why we haven't seen him. Why, was it because of performance-based incentives, that kind of stuff? Were we trying to save money from Chelsea? And then he comes out with his comments right after the match, going, "Look, I haven't been up to it. I haven't been up to it because it took me a while to get used to Howe's training methods and everything, and he's made me a better player, and he's showing that."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and we've been saying it for a while. We thought potentially it was down to what Dan's just mentioned, but we also knew how long it took, other players to get up to speed. Why they were sitting on the bench. Look at Gordon. Gordon was the big example. We always said as well, there's a very good chance this is because Hall's fitness. And then after it was the Everton game when he got substituted Hall, he went off, he was blowing, and I said it's definitely down to fitness. It's definitely down to Eddie Howe saying he's not up to speed yet. Just exactly the same thing happened with Gordon. And it's great that he's come out and said that because it just ends all that speculation and it just shows you how good of a man manager and how Eddie Howe looks after his
that to everybody who says Eddie Howe out.
Yeah, exactly. And it just shows you how good Eddie Howe is as a man manager, doesn't it, Ian? Because he looks after his players.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, we had conversations to and fro, and we were saying something's not quite right. Why isn't he playing? Something's going on behind closed doors. And obviously, I got messages that he was going back to Chelsea, and saying, no, he's staying. The contract's this, that, and the other. And we were going, there's something not right. Something ain't ticking along. And we were disagreeing with each other. We were going, well, so this just can't be happening. And all of a sudden, you see a Hall that, like, when I seen him play, and I was thinking, God, he just doesn't give nothing for me, you know. And then all of a sudden now, you want him to start. You want it because you're thinking, God almighty, and what do I know?
We always knew he was a good player. We always knew that we were getting a good player because we've seen the highlights of him. We've also heard from Chelsea fans saying they were devastated they were losing him. He's not in the England under-21 squad for no reason. We always knew we had a very good player in our hands. It was just we wanted to see it. But Eddie Howe was right.
Like, my personal opinion on him, when I seen him play with a lot with his head down. And he was quite erratic, and he was full throttle all the time with the ball, and he was giving it away. And I was saying, we've got to have more, because I was comparing him. If you remember what I was saying, we need to have the same quality coming from the right hand side with Kieran Trippier with the balls in, and we need to have the same with the left hand side, with the balls coming in and getting around and being attacking, coming from deep. And I was saying with Hall, I just don't feel that. What I've seen these last couple of games now, he's just he's left me going, yes, God, definitely.
Yeah.
You know, you can see what the hype's about this kid now, and especially when he's came out now and spoke is rightly what you've just said, Baz, that he's not quite got into the Howe way of training. And it was the same with Anthony Gordon last season, where Gordon went, I've never been to a club where the training was so intense. And what he wanted, with the demand, what he wanted of us. And he says he thought he was fit when he came from Everton. He was nowhere near as fit what he needed to be at. Now, if it takes Hall another pre-season to get to the levels of Anthony Gordon, look at Tino Livramento. Like, his debut was great. But now you know Tino Livramento, his performances when he's been in that team, he's been solid and he's been reliable. Now, if you're going to get a left back on that side of Hall, that's going to be, I think he's going to get better and better. Right?
Agreed.
And I've seen glimpses now of different side of Hall's game where I've seen him play a lot of long balls, and them long balls have been there with accuracy when he's put them up the line or he's played them inside, and his defensive side is more solid, and I think we've got a really good young left full back on our hands there, and I'm glad now. I'm reading my words what I've seen, because I was his critic and saying I just don't know what we're going to get from Hall, and now you can see, thank God, we're going to get a good young left full back.
Oh yes, I want to come back to this comment because these comments keep winding me up now. If Botman hadn't been injured, would Hall have gotten a game? If Joe Linton, Willock, Sean Longstaff hadn't have been injured, would Miley have gotten a game?
Right.
You know, you can't keep going back to this. And the answer is no, Hall wouldn't have got a game because Eddie Howe says he wasn't ready. So, yes, he would have got games near the end of the season when he was up to speed with his training and his fitness and all that sort of stuff. The reason why they're being rushed into it, like Marnie's being rushed into it and promoted to the senior squad, is because we've had the worst injury campaign we have ever seen at this football club. And that's the reason why. So,
ask to that question, reverse the question and ask why. Was Hall brought in to be a first-team footballer or a youth team?
I think he was brought in for the future because we wanted to sign him this summer, not in January, and not this summer.
So that's youth. So Hall, if everybody was fit, Hall wouldn't have been nowhere near the squad. He'd have been in the system. So that's another way to look at it.
Yeah, exactly. So it's because we're paying 30 million. Everyone's going 30 million. Because could have been spent elsewhere. We're building for the future, and some people are too focused on the now and not focused on the goal, which is to be able to compete in 5 years' time for trophies. And that's the reason why we're buying the likes of Tino, and we've still got Trippier at the club. The reason why we bought Hall, even though we had other left backs like Target still on the books, Dan Burn playing there, you know, Jamal Lewis is still technically at the club as well. We're buying talent
We all
at
know
a cheaper price
Dan Burn.
before they become. Well, I know we don't want Dan Burn to play there,
No.
but he can't play there. This is the
Yeah.
thing. So if you actually look at our nucleus of our squad, at how young it really is, when you take the likes of Bruno, Joelinton out, Wilson out, Pope out, you know, we actually have a very young, youthful team. But you need a mix, and that's what we're trying to do. So it's fantastic.
And if we're bringing in Tosin from Fulham to play right center back, there's another one at 24.
24.
So
exactly.
You're looking at Tino 22, Tosin and Botman 24,
Kelly
and
20.
Kelly is
25,
27,
isn't he? 27,
20,
so he's a little bit older.
Yeah.
But I mean, with Hall back there at 19 or 20 now, you know, we've got Bruno at 26, Joe Linton at 27, Willock at 24, 25.
Yeah.
Tonali at 22.
22.
Tonali will be 23, and then Anderson and Gordon.
Mm.
I mean, you just look at it. You bring in a Isak, you bring in a right winger of the same age group.
Yeah.
You know, something else.
Potentially James Trafford at 22-year-old as well.
Right.
Mm.
Exactly.
Who
Yeah.
and people's going, I don't quite fancy him. James Trafford's won the under 21 with Gordon, and he won the championships, and he's very, very highly rated, and we've been watching him. And for me, if you've got Nick Pope as a number one, and you've got someone like James Trafford as a young goalkeeper that's going to come through, that's and Nick Pope, that's it. If he's going to be an understudy, Nick Pope, like you've got Harrison Ashby and Tilo Livramento at right side, why can't we not do that with a goalkeeper? There's not many young top goalkeepers about, and Trafford, he's up there, one of the best about. I know he's had a torrid season, but he's got a release clause in his contract as well, and that could be that could be one that we'll be possibly going for.
And don't forget, he's playing for Burnley, who played very attractive football but conceded a lot of chances. So you are going to make mistakes because you're literally getting bombarded all the time. You put him in a better side, like with the under 21s, with better players around him, he's got more confidence.
And I mean, some people are still going on about De Gea and that. Why do you want to spunk £350,000 wages on someone?
Well, we wouldn't.
Right? Why would you want to do that when you've got, like I say, an up and coming young, fresh goalkeeper that can do that? That can be around the club for 5 years, right? Potentially be your number one. If it doesn't work out, you're still going to get a decent, hefty chunk of money. If he doesn't go, if he does, you know, Trafford. Say Trafford comes in for a low fee, and he's around us for Trafford. Will it reminds me of the lad that went to Crystal Palace with Manny Henderson, right? From Manchester United, didn't he? In a lot of big money. And
Dean Henderson.
Dean Henderson. He's still worth loads of money, and he hardly kicks a football.
Yeah.
And he's still worth a lot of money. These are the things that we'll be looking at. But potentially on a football side, Trafford could be, in years to come, a number one at Newcastle United.
Well, and as has been said in the comments now, you know, I know it's been rubbish this morning, but you know, Aaron Ramsdale is still only 26. He's not old either. He's a good one. I would prefer Trafford. I would prefer I'm going to butcher that one. Mamadashvili at 23 from Valencia. He would be fantastic. And Ian, you're absolutely right. Having that kind of a backup, that kind of a look what Given and Harper did for a decade. You know, Given knew if he got injured or if he fell down in form, he had Steve Harper right behind him. You know, so you know, you're absolutely right. Having that kind of flexibility, having that kind of squad depth, that's what we're seeing at the Chelseas and the Man Cities and the Arsenals. That they've all got that depth that we haven't been able to build yet. Yeah, but we've also seen this season we haven't been able to build it. We're trying to build it, but you know, now all the new rules come in that none of those other clubs that have built depth had to deal with before.
Yeah, so, but for me, it's getting the best potential out of financial fair play, what's available out there, and you you can go out and spend 40 million on him from Valencia for a goalkeeper, but then if you can get Trafford for a lower fee, which potentially in years to come it's got a higher potential value. Don't get me wrong, both goalkeepers are absolutely, the one at Valencia is absolutely fantastic, but what you can spend your money on elsewhere by bringing a goalkeeper, that's why we've done Gillespie for financial fair play, so we can be flexible in the goalkeeper situation. If you imagine bringing Trafford in for a low fee and then being able to spend that extra 30 million on a
right winger? Yep.
So if he's an example, we'll spend 40 million on him from Valencia for a goalkeeper, but then we didn't quite have that 20 million to get Elise. Who would you rather have? Would you brought Trafford in for less, or would you brought Elise in for 60? I know which way I would rather go. Right. Trafford in, Elise on that right hand side.
Agreed.
That's the way you've got to look at things.
No,
well, and the fact that we got Pope for 10 million, that was a snap.
1,000,000%.
You know, yep. I'm with you 100%.
It was an unbelievable deal, that. But the game finishes 3-2. I believe we broke the record now for the most individual scorers in the Premier League, with Lewis Hall getting a Premier League goal. I'm right with that one, and we only needed one more, and he's done it.
Let the records continue, mate.
Yeah, there's loads of them. Hands off, Elise. Hey, don't ruin them. Man United are not getting them. We want them. Right, move on to Brentford quickly. So it's a massive game on Sunday, guys. It's in our hands. It literally is. We better Man United, either equal or better Man United's result. We finish in the European places. Then Man United have to win the FA Cup to knock us out of Europe, which let's not put it. I'm not going to put it past them, to be fair.
And let's see what version of Chelsea shows up at Brighton.
Yeah, Bournemouth.
Bournemouth. Sorry,
Man United have got Brighton.
Man United,
which is why I'm quite confident that. Piss off, Ian. Yes, there will be a watch along on Sunday. It's the last one of the season, so I'm definitely available for it. But Brentford have got a few injuries. Ben Mee's not available. Rico Henry's not available. Hickey's not available, which is quite good for us because they're pretty good players. 44% say Newcastle United are going to win. 24% to draw. 32% Brentford. We've obviously got the massive list out again. Willock, Miley, Target, Botman, Lascelles, Livramento. Gordon is a doubt.
I'd be fine.
I hope so. Callum Wilson apparently has a chance of making the game, but again, that could be Eddie Howe saying it. And Tonali obviously suspended. Head to head,
Callum Wilson will be out with a bollocks itch. That's what he's going to be out with.
Well, it's going to be his last game, isn't it? Potentially. Let's see what happens.
Is Tonali's got this game and one more, and that's it? He's back?
No, Tonali's got 2 games of next season before he's back.
Oh, it's 2, is it?
Yeah. But surely he should be allowed to play. He probably won't be allowed to, but they should allow him to play in pre-season. It's crazy if they don't.
He'll play in Japan and he'll play in Australia as well.
He might not be allowed.
I thought he can play in them.
I don't know what the rules are, but he might be banned for them still because his ban doesn't lift until after 2 games in the season.
I thought
because it's a FIFA ban, not a FA ban. But that's the question.
Yeah,
the ban that he's serving right now is a FIFA wide ban.
Yeah.
So
you might not be allowed to play in them. I don't know. It'll be interesting. You're not getting them. So head-to-head record, we've won 4, drawn 1 against Brentford recently, which is cracking results when you think about it, because Brentford are a very, very tough side, very good side. Definitely. We beat them 1-0 at home, 2-1 away last season when Gordon and Isaac? I know Isaac got one of them. We beat them 5-1 at home. I was there where we absolutely tore them apart. We beat them 2-0 away. And we've also drawn with them 3-3. That was Howe's first game
as well. Yep.
Yeah, it was Howe's first match, even though he wasn't there because he was in a hotel with COVID, wasn't he?
With COVID,
which was frustrating. It was a good game, though. You were all right. Team news, Brentford will assess Nathan Collins and Frank Yonke. Onyonke? Is that how you pronounce it? We are both nursing minor injuries. Neil Maupay could return. I hate him. Following the birth of his child, but Nico Henry, Hickey, Joss, and Ben Mee remain out. Newcastle's Anthony Gordon is a doubt following a knock he sustained at Manchester United on Wednesday. Callum Wilson should be fit with Fabian Shaw returned from a hamstring issue. Right, let's have a look at potential team news. So this is what Brentford could do. I mean, the one player who I wouldn't mind seeing in the Newcastle shirt, and I think he fits the Eddie Howe style, is Mbeumo on the right-hand side. I don't know if you guys think he's the next level, though, or whether he's worth pursuing, but I think he's a cracking player, Ian.
He's certainly an upgrade on Murphy and Almiron.
I think so.
I think he's a solid, really solid Premiership footballer. And he's got pace.
How much you reckon he's worth?
It depends what he's got left in his contract, to be fair.
Right.
And I've never really looked into his contract to see how long he's got left. If he's got 2 years, he'd be a £30 million player, definitely.
It could be more than that, to be fair. Brentford will obviously, it depends on his contract on whether they think he's. He's got a SOFA score 7.30 this year, which is really good.
I think Wiss is a handful as well, mate, Baz.
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
that front three with Tony. I mean, Tony's very, very clever what he does. But I seen him at St James's Park when it was. Well, I was there when we beat them 5, and I just thought he was very, very poor.
Well, you stick Dan Burn on him, he's not going anywhere.
Do you know he's not very mobile, but on day he can be. You can score something out of nothing.
But Mbeumo, by the way, 9 goals, 6 assists this season, and he's missed 9 big chances. I think he's better than average, and I think if you add that to our team with Gordon on the other side, that's a lot of goals in that team with Isak up front.
Agreed.
And, do you know, Nergard through the middle and all, these are tidy football. He's a great manager. I think he's a fantastic manager, mate. And to get a team like Brentford to be a sustainable Premiership football club, it's all down to him. Yeah. And if you remember right, he took a risk when they were a little bit on the balance of Christian Eriksen because he believed ability. Now these players have just.
He was fantastic, Eriksen, for Brentford. He should have stayed there. Shouldn't have went to Man United.
Before that, they were talking like they were going to be on relegation terms. This manager's took them to a different level where. If they lose him, I fear for Brentford. I really do. I think they're a really, really good team, and especially at home. Well, last season when we beat them, we were only the second team to beat them at the home ground, Dan. Something like that. Right. That was the record.
Yep. Well, and wasn't it this past game that Thomas Frank's dad passed away just before, and so I mean. That's the team gees the team up a little bit and says, we got to win this for the gaffer. It's just
they did that with the previous game, didn't they? Because he was on the touchline and they scored and they all ran over and hugged him. By the way, there's another 2 things about Mbeumo. By the way, he's only 24.
There you go.
His value is 31.8 million apparently, according to SOFA score. But I just think he's a perfect player for us, and we should really be looking at. Because that will go under the radar a little bit. There'll be a lot of other teams who will look at him and go, maybe not, maybe he's at the next level. But I just think quality player.
And if Elise is going to cost twice that.
Yeah, he is. He's 60 million release clause.
Exactly.
Do you know, if you can sign a player of his caliber for 30 million and the potential players that's going to leave can potentially generate kind of that transfer fee. And the wages, what you'll bring in, so you kind of on a level K here, but so you can afford to bring someone like that in and Elise.
Yeah.
So that's can you imagine bringing both of them in?
Yeah.
On that side.
Well, but again, that's Miggy and Murphy then able to be sold and made profit potentially.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. And you're getting massive upgrades on them players.
Yeah. Yes.
Can we just mention just for kicks and giggles that Mike Ashley lost his appeal?
Yes, he did. Yes, he lost his appeal today Fuck him. He's not even worth talking about, is he?
No,
The prick
I
that
just
he
had
is.
to.
Never going to win
Of course he did. I don't blame you. Give the thumbs up and get the fireworks on it.
And another for giggles, the Rubens have
It's
been
not working today.
the Rubens are yet again the richest people in the Northeast. So
Exactly.
billions.
Well, let's have a look at our potential team. Now, this is what I've put up. There's a few talking points. So you got Barnes and Gordon, depending on how his ankle comes. I would start Miggy over Murphy after his last two performances, to be fair. Is Wilson going to start instead of Isak if Wilson is fully fit? Because Isak's showing that he's not fully fit. And then you've got Dubs or Pope. Anderson or J7 as well. Is J7 fit enough to maybe get 70 minutes out of? And then you bring Anderson on in the second half. I'll come to you first, Dan. What are your thoughts and what would you like to see the starting 11?
I'd like to see Joe Linton start just because it's the last game of the season and we didn't expect to see him at all. That keeps Anderson fresh to bring him on in the 60th, 65th minute to just terrorize tired legs. If Gordon is not available, then absolutely Barnes is the right one. I think you start Miggy over Murphy. Wilson's just I'm depends on which reports you read. I love Callum Wilson, but if Callum Wilson just hasn't been up to it the last couple of games just because he's butthurt or whatever it is, maybe he's reading the tea leaves, so to speak, and he's saying, "Look, I'm out of here this season. Why bother?" And that hurts. So, yeah, I see what you've done here. I say J7 starts. I say Barnes starts if Gordon is 100%. I think that's mind games. We saw Gordon leave on crutches with his foot in the boot, and he still started the next match 4 days later. I don't know. I think you give Wilson that chance if he's fully fit and bring on Isak in the 60th or when you bring on Isak and Anderson at the same time and bring Joe Linton and Wilson off. But I think the team picks itself. I would love to see Pope start, but as you said, do you want a ring rusty goalkeeper in your last game of the season that you have to win? This is a must. This is a 6-pointer. So those are my thoughts.
Interesting. Ian, what would you do?
I think you stay with Dubravka in goal, and I think you'll stay loyal to. We needed somebody to step up when Pope wasn't there, and we had no other goalkeeper. And I just think he'll stay to the end. It just
Swan song.
And it obviously it could be his last game for Newcastle United as well. I think he'll do that. Pope's there for the future. Dubravka's not, and I just think I think he'll stay with him again for match fitness because the game is so important. Hall will start, I think, in my eyes. Dan Burn, and I think he'll bring Fab Shaw in. Just simply because I just think he likes that centre half partnership, and I wouldn't be surprised if he drops Trips on the bench and puts Kraft in at left back. At right back. To look after Trippier.
Yeah, it's a good shout.
That's
if Shaw's able to play 70 minutes.
I think he'll play. I really do.
Okay.
And the midfield for me will be the same midfield that started against Manchester United with Anderson, Bruno, and Longstaff. I don't think he'll risk Joe Linton because I think he'll want to get another half an hour into him, maybe just to get him over the line. And then you've got to remember we've got a massive pre-season coming through for next season to get these players back up and fully fit. I do agree with Murphy needs to come out because I think he's been playing poorly. So I think he'll drop Miggy in. Gordon will.
He's playing poorly, but he's got 3 or 4 assists in the last 5 games. It's crazy. He's not playing well, but yet he's still getting the assists.
I think he'll bring Miggy in, and I think Gordon will be fit. So I think Gordon will start, and I think Isak will start as well. Because I think Wilson's burnt his bridges, what we're hearing, and I think it's true. I think he's burnt his bridges, and he knows he's going out the door. So I think Isak will start, and Wilson will go at the bench.
Very interesting. Interesting stuff. I would personally like to see Isak start as long as he's feeling better. But like you mentioned, Wilson might not be anywhere near it. Gordon, as long as he's fit, start him. But I mean, Barnes is still a good player. I know he's not Gordon, but he's a good player. Yeah.
If Isaacs hasn't been well, and yet and Isaacs still been turning up and playing playing, so he's not so well. Ask you the question though. Wilson's been nowhere near with a slight strain supposedly. Then all of a sudden he's not well. So why would you put him in?
No, I mean, like I said, I'd only put him in if he was 100% fit and Isaac's not.
Why would you take Isak out? Because he's been there, done it for the cause, done it for the players, done it for the fans. And then why would you take him out just because Callum Wilson went, oh, we're all right now?
No, if Callum Wilson's 100% fit and all this stuff isn't true, then I would put him back in, because when he's 100% fit and he comes straight back, he is also still effective. And if Isak is still under the weather and he's not doing it, that's the only reason why I would say it. But I would prefer Isak to start. Gordon, obviously, I want to start. I'd probably still keep J7 as an impact player from the subs bench. I don't think he's fit enough to start yet. And then there's the Kraft Shaw argument that you mentioned there, which I haven't even put in there, to be fair, because I just think Shaw's not 100% fit yet. So I think he still keeps Trips and probably does the same thing again, takes Trips off, brings Shaw on and moves Kraft to right back.
You can do it both ways, Baz, can't you? You can
yeah, of course you can.
With them two players, mate. You can, but I just think if you're fit to be on the bench, you're fit to play. And
I don't agree with that, because we've talked about at the very start of the show, and we all said the bench isn't fit enough yet. So, and what you got to remember is, if they're not on the bench, you've got youth players on the bench instead, which we've had that problem all season. It's hard to get back to match fitness, especially what J7's gone through with his knee.
Yeah,
you're not just going to run that off and be 100% fit straight away. It's going to take time. So it's a one-game saloon as it is. What do you do? Do you trust them players that's been there, that's fit for a while, or do you go the players that hasn't been there for a while and just go for it and just take a risk? What do you do, Baz? I don't want to take a risk with the players, because, like we mentioned at the start of the show, we've got to think about next season. So I don't want to be risking players in having longer term injuries.
Yeah,
I'd rather stick with the players who are performing. I mean, Anderson's performing well. He's not having. There's no reason to take Anderson out unless J7 was 100% match fit and back to his best.
But my question is, do you give J7 the first half to batter them senseless and possibly get a goal or two? Not, we know what he's capable of, and when he's in the side, Bruno plays better. And my fear is, if you bring him in the 65th minute and then he gets tackled and he's down, and now you're making two subs.
It's a tough one. It's a tough one, because I mean, I want to see J7 back to his best, but we're not going to see that till next season for me.
Yeah.
So
because there's only one game left, this is the thing where, like, normally I would put loads of stats in front of myself so I can look at stuff, and because there's only one game left, it's trying to find the best solution. What you think that's best for Newcastle United, right. And what do you do for the best interest of the players, and what's more important to do and to get a result? Are we just trying, like, what will Eddie Howe do? Put yourself in Eddie Howe's position. What will he do? What do you think he will, as much as what we would think would do, what do you think Eddie Howe would do?
I think he protects the players.
I think so. So if he's going to protect the players, he's going to go Hall, Burn, Kraft and Trippier, because it's forced. Anderson, Bruno, Longstaff, and he'll play Gordon, Isaac and Murphy. There you are.
I mean, if I was wanting to win the game and putting everyone at risk, I'd take Longstaff out and leave Anderson in and play J7 with Bruno.
Oh, there you go.
I would like to see that. And obviously you would start Isaac, you would start Gordon, and you would start Shaw even if he's 80% fit, because you need someone who can pass the ball out from the back, which we don't have.
Exactly.
And I would probably start Nick Pope, because he's the better goalkeeper. But that's probably a bad idea, because he's his first game back, isn't it?
Yeah. We just don't know, really. And
exactly.
it's great.
We don't know.
And that's great. And this is why we do this. It's fantastic.
Yeah, exactly.
Or do you put Cher in because you know you're bringing in a centre back this summer? He's not going anywhere. Cher's going to be there next season. But
yeah, true.
you know, do you get some legs in him? Give Kraft. You've been a fantastic, what's the word?
Stand-in for the last few games.
Stand-in, right?
See, the reason why I brought Shea back in was it's simply because of balance. And as much as Kraft does a good job in there, it's quite not what you can see. It's disjointed. So if Shaw's fit, I think you'll just bring Shaw back in there and push Kraft out and protect Kieran Trippier for next season.
Right.
And that's another potentially for the Euros. So it's another one of them.
I don't think Trips goes to the Euros. I don't think he makes it. I don't think he's fit enough for it.
I wouldn't be surprised, mind, if he goes there. There's
He
not
may
much
start. Kyle
not
Walker will start,
you know,
but he's on the bench.
I think you go there simply because of experience, and he's been there, and he'll be around it because we've got a young squad, and I think he'll be around, and he's been there and done it, and I think he's pivotal to that England squad.
And a dead ball specialist that you can bring off the bench.
Don't know.
True.
No. Is he the best right back out there at the minute? Of course he's not. Kyle Walker, Trent Alexander-Arnold, they're up there with the best. Trippier's best years are behind him. We know that. But for England, I think he's got this Euro is important, and I think that'll be him done with England. He'll hopefully sign this new deal that we've been whispered about, and I think he'll retire from England international, and he'll do 2 years at Newcastle, and that'll be him retired. And that'll be brilliant.
I want him to retire from international football if he signs a 2-year deal. I don't want him thinking about the World Cup and playing in all those dead rubbing games. Not a chance.
Especially with all the travel needed in North America, that's going to be miserable for him.
Yeah. And the other thing, he's obviously come out and criticised Newcastle going to Australia 3 days after the season's finished, which I kind of agree with him, but I also see the business side of it, and obviously we need to. It's all about money.
I think it's mate, boss. I really do.
You what? Sorry.
I think it's ridiculous, mate.
Oh, I do. I think it's ridiculous from a player's point of view because you're not looking after your players by sending them on a plane 3 days after all that's shut, and there's lots of things to come up. But the only way to grow the club is to get them out there and get the money in it.
And it's winter.
But surely
it's winter in Australia as well.
But surely there's other ways to grow the club than as soon as you finish kicking the football in the Premier League, you're on a plane going to play a friendly.
They must be. They've only done it if there's a massive amount of money involved in it, and there's a big reason for doing it. So you've just got to trust the club. You've got to trust them to do the right thing for the finance side of things.
Be realistically here. There's Copa America knocking on the door. There's Euros knocking on the door, right?
Yeah.
What type of squad is Newcastle United going to send over there that's appealing to the Australian viewers?
Cool. So he needs one name. Oh, he needs one name though. He's meant to be their next big thing. They will be happy to see that.
For me, that's not enough.
Well, for the Australian public to see Newcastle play in a one-off game, it could be.
But that's not Newcastle United that we know.
Yeah, but
you've
got to think of the Australian fan base and what they want.
And selling a shit ton of Adidas.
Yeah, exactly. There's a reason why they're doing it. There must be a very, very good money reason why they're doing it. The only reason why they're doing it.
I think it's
I still think it's silly for the players' point of view, and you see the players being used as puppets and all this sort of stuff. I get that argument.
That's why I find it strange.
And keep in mind, it's not just affecting us. Postecoglou is going, so he's taking Spurs with him.
Yeah.
And there are Spurs players that are also going to be Copa America and Euros players. So I mean, it's both. We're playing Spurs and we're playing an Australian All-Star team. Is there a fourth team involved?
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I haven't paid massive full attention to it, to be fair.
Because we're playing Spurs
in the Premier League, and then this keeps popping up in the background, to be fair. So
it's going to be interesting. Right. And then obviously they're flying off, Japan as well. Do you know what I mean?
And to Bavaria. They're going to go spend time at the training center in Bavaria.
But that's for me such an important deal, like Adidas, to that state-of-the-art complex is just, I mean, we go away to Saudi Arabia and we go away to Dubai to have these state-of-the-art complex. The one in Germany, they reckon it's out of this world. So rightly so, they should go and do that, because it goes to show the connection from Adidas to the club, and we should be a part of that. And it just goes to show that they're embracing us to see what these facilities are all about.
And that money coming in then also bulks up the prospects of our new training facility that we want to build. You know, all of that. And
as a player, though, think about it as a player. Do they really want to be going over to Bolivia to do some training?
Yeah,
they want to be at home with their kids and their families, don't they? So
it gives you a vision of potentially what could, because they're going to these places for a reason, mind, and our owners will be going, this is what we are going to drive to go through, and this is our vision, what we are going to do for this football club, because we all know eventually that our training ground isn't going to be there anymore, and we're going to go into Manchester City. And Manchester City now have got their own the women's, they've got their own stadium, they've got their own training facilities. This is what we are growing. I mean, we're decades behind Manchester City, but this is what we're striving to go through. And to take our club to these headquarters in Germany, just to say, look, this is what we are going through. We are going to do. This is the project what our owners are putting towards these big players, and this is what we're going to be a part of. And rightly so, it'd be absolutely fantastic.
That's true.
This is a true.
Tough, isn't it, Dan? Because, like I say, there's a money reason behind it. It's as simple as that. Anyway, right. League table. Can't believe Chelsea have caught us, by the way. Chelsea have been on one hell of a run. They've really made me eat my words, because I said there's no way Chelsea are going to catch us. I'm not worried about Chelsea. I thought they would have had a meltdown by now, but they haven't. They've somehow put together a run that has been absolutely phenomenal.
How much is Cole Palmer?
Oh, God. Man City have made the biggest error ever selling him.
Was he 51 million bars?
Something like that, yeah. I know it's all pure profit for them, and it's massive for their financial fair play, but the lads hit double figures. He's got 21 goals, 22 goals this season.
And he's
that's phenomenal. And then there's assists to go on top of it.
Yeah.
He is a phenomenal football player, and for Chelsea to get him for only 50 million, when potentially if Chelsea were going to sell him now, they'd probably double the money.
Man City turned around and spent. If he was 51, Man City turned around. Well, that was last season, wasn't it? I was going to say they needed to sell to make up the 50 million that they got for Holland, or that they spent on Holland. Remember, Holland only cost them 50.
Were Chelsea away last game of the season? I thought Chelsea were at home.
Bournemouth.
Southampton are 1-0 up, by the way.
They're going to Bournemouth. They're away to Bournemouth.
No, they're not. Chelsea are at home.
Oh, they're home to Bournemouth.
Yeah, there's no way Chelsea are going to lose to Bournemouth at home. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're on about Cole Palmer. I mean, we had it. Yeah. We spoke about it on the left back show, and there was 2 players that Pep was going to release, and right, and the interesting one was Cole Palmer was just ahead of Alfie Harrison.
Yeah.
And that's how good Alfie Harrison is. That's the pecking order of these players that leave Manchester City. And we've got an absolute gem, by the way, with Alfie Harrison. So,
damn right we have. It's just, I mean, Man City are selling these players and then having to go out and spend £100 million to get a player in which Cole Palmer now is potentially £100 million player quite easily. So very, very strange decision that is in the end. But fair play to Cole Palmer, because he didn't want to sit on the bench. He didn't want to bide his time. He wanted to play football, and he's got his name on the plane without a shadow of a doubt. But yes, there is still an outside chance that we will overtake Chelsea. I mean, all we need is a draw. Sorry, we need them to lose. I'm looking at the wrong thing. Looking at goal difference. We need Chelsea to lose at home to Bournemouth, and I just cannot see it. However, destiny's in our own hand. We need to match or better the Man United game, and they are away to Brighton. Are Brighton going to do us a favour, Dan?
Come on, De Zerbi. That's all I can say.
They can do it.
I do too. Let Lewis Dunk take out Bruno the Rat.
Yeah.
I would love it. I would
Because
love
I
it.
think Man United will be thinking about the FA Cup final.
I don't know.
It's as awful as this sounds. I don't think we'll get a result at Brentford.
Really? Oh God, you have to be such a defeated twat, don't you?
No, it's look at as much as I want us to win, I just don't. Our away record's been terrible, right? And I think
I agree.
Going to a place like that, and it could be his last. That could be his last game for the Brentford manager, by the way, because he's touted to be the next Manchester United manager. And I just the way we're
you don't
playing,
think they might be on the beach?
and the way we're conceding goals, I think it's going to be a difficult afternoon, mate. I really do. And I think Man United will be Brighton and all. I really do. And unfortunately, we'll fall out of the European places.
Right. If we fall out of the European places, is it really such a bad thing? Twat.
Sorry, mate. You
But if we do fall,
do you want us
if we
back on
fall
the
out, it's Ian's fault.
Sorry?
If
we
we
fall
fall
out,
out of the European
like
places, it's Ian's fault.
No, I'm just.
He's winding you up. He's winding you up.
I want us to win, Dan, but look, I come on the show, right, and I'm not all. I love Newcastle United, right? I know I do, but I try and get things across where I see things from both sides of the table, and the way we're playing and the way we're doing stuff. I just don't. I can't see us getting a result down in Brentford. I really can't.
Right, we fall out of the European places. We can spend. It's not till next season, is it? Southampton.
No, it's from next season.
Yeah.
Is it from next season? Definitely.
Yeah.
That means we can spend an extra 10% than what teams in Europe can spend. So is it such a bad thing if we don't end up in Europe? I'm waiting for an answer.
I'm not answering because I've just put a tamper on the show. It's up to you.
There's always one, isn't there? There's always one.
You know I try to Baz, you know I try to be.
I know you do.
Right.
But
Right.
Dan,
Did you see full time of Southampton West Brom?
Yeah, 2-0.
Yep. Great. That's Ryan Fraser gone.
Who's won
That's
Southampton?
if they beat Leeds. Southampton won 2-0, so that means it's Leeds Southampton in the final.
Ryan Fraser, money. Come on.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly what I said. Yep.
Hopefully. But Dan, if we don't finish in the European spot, but if we don't, it's not such a bad. I mean, we're talking about Europa Conference.
Given the season we've had, Baz, I take it. I would take it. You know what?
It's not finished yet. It's still 11 minutes.
No.
But it might as well be finished.
Okay, Sky Sports is confusing the crap out of me because it was all grayed out. It wasn't red as showing live. It was grayed out. So sorry.
Yeah, it's all right. They're winning 2-0, which means potentially they are through anyway. So it's absolutely fine. But could you imagine potentially having 10% more to spend, then getting yourself back into a situation where if we do get into Europe, we can sell someone to then get back out inside the PSR or FFP, whatever it's called these days. It's not such a bad thing, is it?
Once again, I'm going to say that
we're going to finish in Europe, so it's not going to happen.
The only thing I want to have happen this season is to have us finish above United. That's it. That's
Snap.
it. I'll take it.
Snap. I think we're going to do it, but then I think Man United will win the FA Cup if we do finish above them, because that's just the Newcastle thing to happen to us, and it's the one Man United thing that they would like to do to us. So one of those ones. Hi, Paul. Hope you're well, mate. Right, come on then. Score predictions, Ian. Give us your bad news. Yeah, you said it, mate, not me.
I think we're going to be 2-1.
I'll turn it on its head. I think we beat them 2-1.
Ooh, I like that fighting talk. I'm going 1-1. But I am going that Man United won't get a result at Brighton. they'll either draw or lose, and we'll finish above them that way.
Okay, and Chelsea's going to just wallop Bournemouth, you think?
Yes, I don't think we're getting anywhere near them.
Chelsea
I really don't.
So
yeah, Chelsea have got 6. Congratulations to Chelsea. Newcastle will finish 7th, and Man United will finish 8th, even though we won't get a result of the weekend. We'll get a draw. And I honestly think Brighton, last home game of the season, probably does, I just think they're a good team. Oh, Blade always does that. But yeah, I think we'll finish above them, but we'll both get a draw, or Brighton will beat Man United. I really do think that'll happen. Because I think Man United will be thinking FA Cup final. Brighton will be thinking, let's do these because we owe them one. And they're a good team, Brighton. And they should have got something out. Chelsea were hanging on against Brighton. And they really should have got something out of that game. So I think they'll want to get something for the fans with not getting a result against Chelsea. So that's how I think it will happen. Fingers crossed. Right. Hope you've enjoyed the show, everyone. Hit the subscribe button if you have. Hit the thumbs up button. Consider subscribing as a member. Link is at the top of the chat. Don't forget about our amazing sponsors, Diary Crow and Football Prizes. The link is in the description for their sites. Amazing stuff. And I will be back on Sunday. And then...
What time is that going to be? That's going to be 4 p.m. your time.
4 p.m. UK time.
All right. I might be able to come and watch along with you. We'll see.
Ooh, brilliant. And then we'll probably do the review on the same night, do you think? Or are you going out and getting drunk in?
At 4. No, I don't think I'll be able to do a Sunday night.
We'll probably leave it till Monday then. And yes, I will be available for the watch.
Leave it till Monday, mate. I'll be fresh as a daisy.
Yeah, I bet you will.
And I know that Uncle Jack was traveling today. That's why he couldn't be on. So
he hasn't messaged.
It's time for he's been, like I said, it's time for the family get together out on the East Coast. So
I thought he'd already done that.
He messaged me today, so.
Oh, that's nice of him.
Yeah, he wished us happy 10th anniversary. So
there you go.
Happy 10th anniversary. I love it.
Did you guys I don't know whether or not you saw it. So Barclays did a supporter spotlight of him just before our broadcast. And there's a picture of me, Jack, and Steve Wraith before the West Ham game. And then a picture of him and Jamie, and then a picture of him and Shade and Eddie back in December. So they got some good folks. The only thing they didn't do was they didn't show a picture of Jack with his family.
Oh.
They showed him with his Newcastle family, but not his actual family because he gave those pictures too. So
that's a shame.
Yeah.
Typical.
Yeah. But apparently Sky Sports ran a different promo. He did 2 different interviews. So
okay.
I'm trying to find him on YouTube.
I'm not seeing
any luck. No.
Yeah. Normally you would see that sort of thing on Twitter, wouldn't you? Like links and all that sort of stuff.
We have to reach out to Keith Downey and get a couple. Because they've done a couple of promos for visiting fans, and we'd love to see all of those.
Yeah, definitely. I want to see them.
Keith will definitely have them.
Well, you would think so, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You would hope so. Right. Anyway, have a great weekend, everyone. Let's hope Newcastle doesn't ruin it, and we finish in a European spot. And we will be available. I don't know what's going on, Dan. It's not loving you today. Are you on your phone or on a different computer or something?
No, I'm on the computer.
Weird. Very strange. Very strange. Well, there we go. We'll catch up with you all again soon. We will be doing a season review. Just keep an eye out on the channel and enjoy your weekend. Yeah.
Cheers, lads.
Everyone. Enjoy the sun.
All the best.